This episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com. With over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off, head on over to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER7. This episode is also brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
Welcome everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of Derpy Dragon, the free-to-play show for August 8th, 2013. I'm your host, Mike Shavnit. Gary is too busy in Vegas, getting a good look at EverQuest Next. Joining me today, you guys know him, you guys love him, Mr. Editor-in-Chief over at FreeToPlayTV, Mr. Mike Byrne.
Good evening. Sorry about the whole chat room fiasco there. Welcome to any chat room you like. It's chat room roulette. Pick one. Ooh, we apologize.
But I promise it will not be the same as chat roulette, so let's keep it clean.
No, there will be no penises here.
All right, let's just move right on into it here. I mean, huge news is coming out of Vegas today. EverQuest has just been EverQuest Next, rather, has just been dominating the news front today. So much is popping out. And of course, you know, I don't want to dominate Derpy Dragon with it, especially because we have an entire special episode of Twemo dedicated to EverQuest Next. If you guys want that information, it will be, we just aired it on the live stream. It will be uploaded for video on demand shortly, so please go check that out. If you guys want, actually Gary and Scott Hawks sat down, they were at the keynote, they give their opinions on it. It's a great episode of Twemo, so go check that out for your EverQuest Next needs. But I do want to talk about it just a little bit with you, Mike.
Kind of makes sense.
Just a little bit, you know, we don't know its model yet. So aside from, you know, obviously the hype that's around it, what are your thoughts on today's news about EverQuest Next so far?
It was interesting. There were definitely some things I expected were probably the case. You know, obviously more sandbox in nature. We all kind of expected that. We all kind of expected more of a player-driven or player-built atmosphere, but I don't think we expected it to the level that we saw so far. It's going to be interesting to see how the other typical MMO-type elements mesh in with that. It's intriguing. I don't know if it's captivated me and is a must-play yet, but it's certainly a must keep my eye on right now. What about you, Chef?
I was pleasantly surprised. I started the day really not caring. The stream for it actually went live, and I was in the process of trying to get the Twemo episode put together, and I didn't turn it on right away. And then I got the episode done and started watching it, and as it went on, I slowly found myself more and more mystified by what they were doing. I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold on how the systems work. Like, they seem to be putting a lot of, like, and I get it, like, the fact that you can blow up a bridge anywhere you want to cause a choke point on your enemies is amazing, because every single voxel around the world is breakable, which is really incredible. But I just don't know if it's going to be like this huge strategic revolutionary feature that's used as much as everybody like thinks it's going to be. I'm really impressed with it. I actually mid-stream though, I texted the friend that I have from college that I still play MMOs with. I was like, we're playing this game. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't care. We're playing it because it looks really exciting. Gosh, it's so much. I could honestly gush about it right now. I'm trying to hold back.
Really? You're that pumped?
I was really impressed. Like I said, I started the day not caring, but by the end of it, I thought the environments looked amazing. The night to day cycle or the day to night cycle was phenomenal. I thought that's going to bring such an immersion level to the game. I really like how they talked about how the game has these kind of hidden treasure troves of questing areas that you can basically burrow down into the ground and find. Because that's what I really liked about Tibia. Tibia was this game that I found myself logging into. Again. Here we go. This is where I get to talk about it because it's a free-to-play game. It's a free-to-play game, so I get to talk about it here. But like, I found myself in that game just wanting to explore deeper into dungeons, and that's what makes this kind of really cool. Is you could dig a tunnel and randomly come across the pocket of something that's really like this awesome fight just for exploring, and I thought that was really cool. I like the destructibility of everything. I like that there's kind of the one thing I will say is their living, breathing kind of world that creates impact is very much like Guild Wars 2. I'm still very skeptical about it. You can say that it's ever evolving based on every decision that you ever make, and no play experience will ever be the same. But at the end of the day, it's still code. Unless your code is living itself, there are scripts that will cause the same things to happen.
That's a frightening thought, right?
It's just
the
how
EverQuest
dynamic.
Next code is self-generating now. it's become self-aware.
The one other thought that I have about it, and then we can just kind of move on with this topic, or at least away from my opinion on it. Are people really offended by the graphics of the game? I was watching the chat and I couldn't stop seeing people be like, "Oh, these graphics are horrible. They're cartoony. They suck." And like, do you not realize when MMOs try and make realistic MMO looking graphics, typically they feel dated within the first year? Look at World of Warcraft.
All right, there's a couple different arguments, and I'm on your side for most of them.
Okay.
Yes, there was a lot of people in the chat for the stream, and even in the stream during the Gary and the special edition Twemo with Gary and Scott that were talking about the graphics. It's an art style thing. Either you like it or you don't, and that's okay. You have the same argument going on with WildStar. Again, a very particular art style. Either you like it or you don't. I don't think I don't put them in the cartoony and ultra realistic brackets and say, oh, well, one's going to be better than the other, because I think realistic can be done in a way that ages gracefully. Say what you want, Age of Conan, say what you want about the game. I think it still holds up relatively well today as a very realistic type-looking MMO. Graphically, Final Fantasy XIV is obviously on the very top tier of those types of graphics and is probably going to withstand the test of time for a few years because of it. I think you can do realistic. I don't think realistic jives with what they're doing with the whole voxel tear apart rebuild thing. And so I think this art style actually makes a lot of sense for EverQuest Next. And I kind of dig the art style myself, but it's definitely going to turn some people off.
Well, and that, I mean, all I want to say about it is it bothers me because I do know people that judge a game strictly based on its art style. I won't even say graphics. They'll judge it on its art style. And it just doesn't make sense. Like that doesn't change the game systems. I'm going to move on.
But don't move on, because this is an argument that goes on in all of the chats for every Twemo that's ever aired.
It's so frustrating. Like I don't want to get lost in the topic, but it just bothers me. It's an art style. It doesn't change the game.
Yeah, of course it does, though. It doesn't change the game itself, but if you hate the art style, what are the odds of you ever actually being involved in the game much? I mean, the idea is if you want to play a game, yes, you've got to have those great things behind the art style. And I'm not saying graphics is more important than gameplay. Gameplay is more important than graphics. I'm not picking a side on that one. I think the whole package is what makes it together. But if you can't reconcile that you're at least okay with the art style, then the game's probably always going to be crap for you because you're never going to get past that. And I think that's a fair argument for players to make. It's the whole WildStar thing going on right now. It's too cartoony. I don't want to play it. I played WoW, and that's cartoony for so many years. Okay, well, it's probably going to bug them while they play it. If they can't reconcile that, then it doesn't matter how many cool systems are in there. Visually, it's always going to bug them and not be fun.
Here's my thing also with the cartoony thing, and I'm sure people are gonna hate me for this, and I'm probably one of the younger people on the Game Breaker staff. I don't think MMOs are made for us anymore, or they shouldn't be. I'm fine with us being kept in mind. I think that in order for there to be high subscriber base there or high player base, MMOs need to target the people who have the time. That's the people in high school. That's the people in college. That's when we played and had so much time and where we fell in love with it. So for me, at least, I feel like the cartoony art style with WildStar, with where World of Warcraft was at the time and where EverQuest is going is a way to help bridge the gap to a younger audience and generation, to get them involved and get them playing. Because as much as we hate it, eventually we're going to have to grow out of it and accept responsibility in real life and don't have the time to play anymore. And I don't want to be forgotten by any means, don't get me wrong, right. But I think that for the games to survive, there's a higher market of people with more time than we now are. And we are the aging MMO player, and there's a new one that they also need to focus and cater to.
I think you're going to get a little flack on that one, yeah.
I probably will, but that's just what I feel.
And the reason is, yes, I definitely see what you're talking about. I mean, you have to, it's always market to the late teens, early 20s, that's fine. In most products, not just video games, but in most products, it's get those, and everybody younger will think, that's cool and we need to buy it, and everybody older will just, tag along. But there's something to be said here, especially with free-to-play and how microtransactions work and how revenue works, that's not necessarily the model that you target directly to because they're not the ones with as much disposable income, and a free-to-play game relies on disposable income as its revenue source. So I disagree just a little bit there, specifically when you talk about free-to-play.
Did we get
going back to art style, though, I'm totally okay with somebody making a judgment call on art style. If it's not for you, it doesn't matter how good the game is. Visually, it's going to hurt you.
Did we get any announcement about EverQuest Next being free to play? I didn't catch it at the end, and I don't think there was. But did we get one?
Not for EQ Next itself, but Landmark in the winter, that will be free. Which kind of makes sense. They want you to build some stuff so that they don't have to.
I loved that too. It's like, hey, here's this awesome new tool that lets you really build some cool things, and if you're really good, we'll take your models and put it into the game. How does that sound, free labor? You're much more of a theme park person than a sandbox guy. So
if I have to pick a side of the line, yeah.
So with that in mind, do you think that EverQuest would be a sandbox style game for you if you were to pick up and play a sandbox?
I think it's got a strong maybe case right now. It's certainly got the case for something I spend a little bit of time in here and there, kind of the same way I play other sandboxy, creation-y type things. I mean, I don't want to say Minecraft, but there you go, I said it. I play that occasionally. I play Cube World occasionally. Other big theme or sandbox type things, Age of Wushu, I play occasionally. So it's certainly got that going for it. I like the art style. I'm a big EverQuest junkie. I may start getting back into EQ2 if I can get some people to convince me that'll school me a little bit. So it's got a couple things riding on it that's definitely looking like a maybe play for occasionally. I'm hoping that as I see more, it becomes something that I can sink a lot of time into. But it's a maybe for now.
All right, let's move on. Neverwinter is actually proudly proclaiming that 2 million accounts are created. Active? Created.
2 million!
They're proclaiming 2 million accounts!
Whoa! We have 2 million! 2 million what?
2 million active accounts, 2 million accounts that have been deleted, 2 million what?
Well, it's kind of like, okay, it's not subscriptions, obviously. It's a free-to-play game. I don't think they really would be advertising accounts because Perfect World has that whole single sign-on thing for multiple games, and like somebody like myself, I didn't create an account for Neverwinter. I had one from Perfect World International and Forsaken World and all that jazz. So I don't think they're counting that. And then when you read closely, it kind of reads like we've had over 2 million people step into this world. So I think they're not looking at accounts at all. They're just looking at individual accounts, whether they were created for Neverwinter or not, or previously existed. 2 million people have set foot in this world at some point. And that includes, I would assume, players like me who spent $10 in the game, $10 or $15 maybe once, and haven't played it in probably about a month, if I'm being honest. So take the number for what it's worth, I guess.
I mean,
cool.
yeah,
Good job, guys.
Does that mean... I don't want to... This is going to sound so coarse, but does that mean much?
You're 2 for 2, Mike.
Like, I know. I'm doing. Let's just give me a round of applause. Does 2 million really even mean much? If it's just if that's the style that they're going. I mean, I don't want to diminish the accomplishment, because I don't have 2 million people playing my game, but I don't have a game, for the record. That's the point. But if it's just like 2 million people 2 million accounts, like it seems like such padding, such market strategery pattering. I just made up a word.
Yeah, I think you did. I'm not sure that's real. It's one of those things that you're like, yeah, okay, congratulations. You know, I'm sure if I was on the development side of this or the marketing side of this, I would be very happy. There have been 2 million accounts that have rolled through this universe that I've created. And kudos to them. That is an accomplishment on their side. From a marketing standpoint, and what should it mean to investors and players and things like that, it's one of those numbers that it definitely means something to people that aren't as ingrained in MMOs as us, right? 2 million accounts have played. That's a big number. I haven't played this. I should probably play this. From those of us that are, more in tune with MMOs, we hear this number and we're like, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. It's a made-up number. Not to say that it's not a little impressive, but
I feel like that's one of those banners that comes up on TV ads. Like, like World of Tanks is a perfect example. 60 million playing World of Tanks, but it's like, what does that really mean?
60 million is still an impressive number, even though it's a bullshit number in that case too, right?
True.
It's just accounts. It really doesn't mean much, but 60 million is just a big freaking number.
But is that all that is here? Is it's meant to be a marketing, like,
of course,
commercial banner. 2 million accounts, the same as 60 million accounts came up with World of Tanks.
Yeah, and if you watch the trailer that came with this, we posted it on FreeToPlay.tv. It's a trailer that flashes the 2 million number at you, has some action-y combat, has some decent music. I actually really like the music, and then has the famous press quotes flyby of all the different sites and what they've said about the game. So it's certainly more geared towards an advertising thing than a celebration thing, and it's mostly geared at people that don't recognize that type of number really doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It's not aimed at us. It's not aimed at chat.
Right.
We're a bit too savvy to understand that number really doesn't mean much.
Is the reason that we don't see, companies throw out real numbers simply just because the numbers are bad? Because that's really like the only... I get it. You don't want to be like, we've got 50 people playing our $10 billion game. It's really good. Can't you tell by the 50 people that are playing it? You should come play. But that's the negative side of it. But I mean, is it just because we've had to hit this perfect middle ground, because you can't it can't be the standard to tout the numbers that you have, because if they're bad, they're bad. But on the reverse, if they're good, it could really mean a lot, not just to the person who's not intelligible to the situation, but also to us.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one, and it's never going to change. I mean, I can't see maybe Sony with how open they're appearing with EverQuest Next right now, and we want to keep all the communication with the gamers and the players and everything like that. But it's not going to change much, because you're right. If it's bad news, it's bad news. You definitely don't want to make that public. If your average revenue per paying user is 8 cents, then you're in trouble, and you don't really want to make that public, especially if you depend on investor cash. And if it's good news, you really would like to get that out there, but then there would be the expectation of that news coming frequently and on a certain schedule, which you wouldn't want to do in case there was a bad time. So I think that's why we kind of stay away from it. Some smaller games do dish out the average revenue per paying user and the average revenue per user stats. Those are the ones that if you can find for a free-to-play game, those are the really important 2 stats, and the ones that investors are really looking at. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see them anytime soon from any free-to-play games. AAA, that type of big exposure, just not going to happen.
Does Neverwinter need to do something in order to change itself into a better stride? I mean, I keep hearing that it's okay. A lot of players look at it and kind of say, you know, well, what would I do at endgame? Why would I even bother playing that? But the thing about it is, it was billed as a full-blown big MMO, and is it just missing endgame? Is that what people are having a massive problem with? Because I don't think it's being received as well as what they had hoped for.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd one, and we've talked about it before on the show. I think you and I, in fact, that Neverwinter's good, but it's not something we jump into every night and have to play for a couple of hours every night with our friends and things like that. It's play it for a few hours and then don't touch it for a week or two. I wouldn't say that they're disappointed. I think Cryptic and Perfect World, especially Perfect World, as long as the money keeps rolling in with every single expansion or module's founder pack sales, Perfect World's going to be just fine with it, no matter how the community reacts. But there's still they've got to fix some core bugs that are still in the game, but they're pumping out new content, and they really have to develop an end game. Right now, there's just not a whole lot to do when you hit 60. You have a couple days worth of content there, and then it's gone. So it's got to be at endgame, but they also need to fix some other things that their forums are griping about right now and just still haven't been fixed. I don't know, though. I think they're just going to keep tacking on these little modules every couple of months and selling the founders packs until the well dries, which is a shame because I do enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think that they need to add? A really good strategy to get people involved in your game and really look behind it. A good book. But not just any book. They should do Audible. They should do an audio book. They should put an audio book out specifically for, and I was trying actually just to search this real quick. But here's the quick story to this. I was trying to find Dungeons & Dragons books, and I know that they have them. But here's the story. A lot of you guys know I went to Blizzard for their fan fest. They gave me the brand new Vol'jin book, which came out not even like a month ago. First off, new book's already up on Audible. So if you're a fan at all of the Warcraft series and you want to check out a really cool book that just came out, be sure to go check out Vol'jin Shadows of the Horde. But more importantly here, what I'm trying to tell you guys is I actually received a copy of this book. It went straight to my bookshelf, and I haven't read a single page. But you know what I'm doing? I'm listening to the book on Audible while I drive to work, while I'm cutting together, graphics. Like, I feel really bad because I got a free book out of it, but I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to dedicate and sit down and read. And that's what Audible's been great for. I've been actually able to get through the first 3 chapters of the book. And I'm just saying, if you guys haven't checked it out, you please go do so. Audible's an amazing service, and you guys can actually sign up for a free trial, which will get you free 30 days, as well as a free audiobook by heading over to audible.com/gamebreaker. So please go check Audible. Supporting them supports us, and we really appreciate it. Moving on here, Chinese banks go a little bit crazy. That's the title. They go crazy. Period.
That's the end. That's the end of the sentence. Start filling out your applications now.
No, yeah, for real. They dropped $97.4 million in loans on Snail Games for the development of the MMORPG called Black Gold. Indeed. No, wait a second. Wait. These banks do also know that Snail Games just added forcible castration or forcible castration in their other game, Age of Wushu, right?
And
do they just really like castration?
I guess
this is working. $97 million.
People are missing balls. Approved. Oh boy.
What? All right. What about the Black Gold Cash Shop that his?
We talked about that last week too, and then all of a sudden we talked missing balls, stupid cash shop. And on this week's show, they're getting $97.4 million from 4 different Chinese banks.
Million!
Did
All
you
right.
take a look at the cash shop last week, Mike? That was nuts.
I don't even...
There's the time lock on the cash shop, so certain pieces of loot at certain levels of quality get stuck in a time lock. And there's random chances every now and then that you can roll, and maybe one will become free for you to pick up, or your whole thing will be cleared, time lock will be cleared, and you can have them all. But the main idea is that you pay for the pieces of gear you want to bypass the time lock, and now you can actually have them.
Jesus.
And the rationale for this was classic. It's always, we're doing it for the gamers, right? We're doing it for the gamers. The rationale for this was, well, now you don't have to deal with, crappy loot drops taking up bag space and stuff because you never own them. I got an idea. How about don't put them in the game? Don't put the crap in the game if I'm just going to sit there and let it disappear anyway. So yeah, weird cash shop, cutting your balls off in Age of Wushu. Definitely sounds like a $97 million idea.
I mean, we just talked about numbers from game companies, and here's all I can put together is that clearly we don't know crap. Because these banks had to see something in there. 20 million? Here's 97 million! Like, or I guess it was 2 million. It wasn't 20, it was 2 million.
Something. You have to believe that they saw the finances for Age of Wushu and are thinking this is a good investment.
Because that's what it is.
Kind of frightening,
Like
we don't get the numbers, but that's impressive.
That's what you got to also think. It's not just like, oh, this was really good. Like, here's $97 million. We believe in you. It's an investment. They're giving $97 million in the hopes of getting money in return.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you got to consider. And it's like, what are they thinking?
And when you get that type of money, when you get any money from a bank, I mean, anybody that buys a house or has started a small business knows you either got to have a collateral or an idea or something already developed that a bank is okay to make an investment with. In this case, your collateral and your investment rode on Age of Wushu. You have to believe that's the product you have out there. That's the thing that's making you money. And they must have been able to prove to the banks, look at how well this is doing. We've got another one in the works that we'd like to do some more with. It's impressive if that's the case. If it's not the case, then it's downright confusing and kind of smacks of Rhode Island a little bit, just a different scenario.
Chirum's got a really good idea. So they must have gotten Kurt Schilling to pitch Age of Wushu.
Nice.
We'll get to that in a second. I forgot who said it. I don't have chat up at the moment, but someone had a good zinger, so I had to give them a shout out for that one. Before we get into the loan itself, though, what's this game all about? Because honestly, I wasn't really even aware of this game until the Cash Shop video came out.
Yeah, and it's very early. That's why. I mean, it's still in alpha in the East right now. It's not going to come to the States for a while, probably very mid to late 2014, maybe even early 2015. But in a nutshell, MMORPG, fantasy and steampunk kind of colliding, 2 different factions. One is very fantasy-based, one is steampunk-based, and they're after the main resource of the game, which, of course, is black gold.
I mean, that sounds cool. There's so many people out there that
sounds like
love
a neat idea.
Steampunk and fantasy. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, which I didn't remember, I think, on Derpy Dragon as well last time, it sounds kind of Final Fantasy 3-ish with the magic. Like, that was kind of steampunky with fantasy. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I know that one is Final Fantasy 6 because I use the correct numbers.
Well, 3-6, sorry. So do I, but I'm trying to localize for America.
No,
Clearly,
don't pander to the audience, chef. Let your fanboy show.
Okay, all right. I apologize. Why with this? Why the crazy cash shop though? Because why not just kind of stick to an industry norm or even the norms that they set up for Age of Wushu?
Yeah, and it's like Age of Wushu was kind of unique enough as far as the whole cash shop thing went, with the whole, if you bought a subscription, you were able to cultivate your experience at a faster rate while you were offline, and there was some unique aspects already in there. And then it seems like they were just like, we have a really unique thing going with Age of Wushu's cash shop. Well, let's go ahead and do something totally out there, and we'll just see if it works. Unfortunately, I'm scared that it might, because I don't particularly like the model, And I didn't like Founders Packs when they started a year and a half, 2 years ago, and now they're on every game because they work. So I'm a little nervous about this one actually working.
So in addition to the loans, Snail Games and their publisher, Shanda Games, plan to spend an additional $32.6 million in marketing worldwide for its release.
This is a boatload of money.
So the 30, let's see, it was 32 million and what? I said 97. So we're at almost 110 million, right? If my quick math.
We're
120. That's 120.
Yeah, we're over that. We're over that. Yeah, we're hitting the 130 million plus mark now. We're very close to it. 130 million. Think about that. I mean, there were speculations of Star Wars: The Old Republic when it first started being around $100 million. We now know that it probably exceeded the $200 million mark as far as development went. But we're not talking small dollars here. We're talking huge. Let's put it in perspective. I gave this one to you in the notes. World of Warcraft, your favorite game.
Not my favorite game.
That's your favorite.
Don't set me up to be a fanboy here. I do like it a lot.
You love cartoony graphics, from what I hear.
That's true. That's the only reason I play World of Warcraft is the cartoony graphics.
Vivendi once said that World of Warcraft was in development for about 4.5 years and cost $63 million to make initially. Now, of course, they've sunk a ton of money into it since then, obviously, with expansions and stuff. We're talking about the original World of Warcraft launch. That's $63 million. Even if you adjust for inflation from 2004 till now, that's $75 million worth of development.
They're overshooting.
They just got 97 plus by a bank, and that doesn't count the 30 plus they're putting into the marketing.
Well, then, I mean, if you're gonna bring up comparisons, then here, what about obviously we talked about it, Rhode Island. Rhode Island gave out a loan to 38 Studios for a total of $75 million.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, and there's a little bit of a difference there, right? This is a bank that's expecting the money back versus a state that didn't know what the hell they were doing.
I'm pretty sure Rhode Island expected that money back. But
really?
that's a different story.
But just from a dollars amount, yeah. And that was for a company. That wasn't just one game. I mean, it was kind of aimed at Project Copernicus by itself, but it was also the whole Amalar thing. That was just a company loan. This is for one game development, worldwide development. Crazy. I hope it pans out, or this could be the end of Snail Games real quick.
Oh, with an investment like that, what about a release date? We want it to pay off. Is there any release date in sight?
This is a long-term investment, my brother from another mother. This isn't coming out until, for at least us in the West, until late 2014, possibly early 2015. It's in very, very early alphas in the East right now.
It's going to take a lot of effort, so start praying for them right now. We're going to move on here to Sony's Player Studio tools, but before we do, I want to tell you guys about another awesome sponsor of ours. You guys have heard about them a lot here on GameBreaker, and that's because we use them a lot here on GameBreaker. The one and only Shutterstock.com. Shutterstock is an amazing, amazing tool for anyone in the creative field. I've used it for blood effects. I've used it for motion graphics for feature films. I've used it for our YouTube channel. We've used it for Derpy Dragon as well. And I'm not actually sure of the exact keywords that Gary used to find our lovely dragon, but it's super simple to use. Just come up here to Shutterstock, type in cartoony dragon. You're going to find a whole mess of just awesome cartoony dragons that you can use. It's really simple. Whatever your creative heart desires, I guarantee you, Shutterstock has an image for that. They've got video tools. It's not just stock photos and illustrations, it's video as well. So if you need an amazing picture of a sunrise or just a very weird picture of someone rubbing in suntan lotion, they've got that. They got it covered for you. But it's really great. Honestly, it is an amazing service. We do use it all the time. I can't recommend it enough. So if you guys actually head over to Shutterstock.com and use the promo code GameBreaker7 at checkout, you'll get 30% off your new accounts. As well as you can actually, I don't know if you guys know this, you don't need to go sign up right now. You can actually head over to Shutterstock, create a free account, and with that free account, you can start finding images. You can save them to what they call a light box, which is kind of a collection of all the images that you like. And then when you're ready to purchase them, you just go to checkout, you use the offer code GameBreaker7, which is actually GameBreaker8, because we're in the 8th month of the year. So go over and use the promo code GameBreaker8, not 7, and you'll get 30% off. Same with Audible. Wait, Audible didn't have an 8. That was just /GameBreaker. Stop laughing at me, Burn. I'm doing my best. The month changed. I didn't know what was up. All right, moving on here. Sony Player Studios Studio Tool finally made its way to PlanetSide 2. So Burn, real quick, refresh my memory on this. The Player Studio is a way that people can be making money in the game, correct?
Yeah.
What's up? How's it going? You all right?
That was the most ridiculous ad ever.
Why?
Oh, I love you, man. I love you. Yes. So you can create Player Studio. You can create items. Sony will approve them and put them on the cash shop, and you rake in 40% if people buy them. Pretty cool. It's used in a bunch of games now. EQ and now PlanetSide 2 and eventually
what they're
Vanguard. But I don't know why the hell they would do that. But okay.
That's what they talked about doing with EverQuest. I already forgot their Forge. I want to say Waypoint, but that's my show. The tool, help me out, Burn. The tool that's coming out later this year. It's on the tip of my tongue. Don't leave me hanging here because I look like an idiot. God damn you, Burn. Just god damn you. That tool from EverQuest Next, I'm just going to refer to it to that because that's ambiguous enough, and I know everybody out there knows what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Landmark?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Was that so hard to leave me hanging for 30 seconds while I look like an idiot?
Oh, man, I love you. I love you.
Bro love.
We are never getting out of here tonight, are we?
Nope, never gonna happen.
I got some rifting to do tonight.
Landmark. That's what they kind of talked about. What they're gonna do with Landmark is you can make pieces with EverQuest Next. You can put them up on the store if people like them and want to use them in their structures. You get actually paid a percentage for how much of your stuff that they use.
Yeah, kind of like a royalties thing. So they're kind of taking it to the whole next level. I dig it. I dig it.
So with that the case, then what can I make in PlanetSide 2?
Right now you're kind of limited. Helmets, hood ornaments, and some decals and windshield stuff as well. So it's kind of limited.
So the next time that I log in, you basically say I can expect to see a bunch of helmets with penises. Right there.
Helmets with helmets, as it were. Zing! No, it still has to go through Sony Online moderation, just the same way they talked about at the EQ Next thing today. Still has to go through moderation, so you won't see any of that stuff.
User created is obviously a huge buzzword. I'll even say before Minecraft, but I think Minecraft became a big front runner of that. Do you think this type of system is going to work? Do you want to create more?
I kind of dig the Player Studio, and I'm interested to see how far EQ Next takes the whole payment stuff. There's something to be said for user-created. There's also something really cool about not only can I create some cool stuff, but I can make a little scratch at it and make some 40%, or if Shaftnet uses the towers for my castle, I make 2% off every castle he sells. There's something really cool and just macro about that I like. I'm definitely a fan of the Player Studio.
All right, let's move.
You make things? Are you a creative guy like that?
I want to be, honestly. Like, I'm like, oh, awesome, user-created stuff. I'm going to make the coolest stuff. And then I get in there, and I'm just like, it's basically trying to build a sandcastle with a freaking like bulldozer. Like, I am so clunky when it comes to user created stuff that I always set out with the best intentions, and then I get in and I'm like, oh, or I make something, I'm like, oh yeah, this is really good. All right, cool. What have other people been making? I'm never doing that again.
That's a lot better than mine.
I'm never doing that again. That was a waste of a month of my life.
I used to think I was the Mario Paint musical composing master. You know, I used to create some stuff there. I play piano, so I'm like, yeah, I got this. Oh, look, baby sounds, cat noises. Then I went on YouTube and was like, yeah, I don't even want to play this anymore.
Never do it again. Speaking of user created, though, Aion actually just introduced 2 new weapon skins in North America.
Yep.
So this is from a contest, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, contest that was run last year prior to 4.0's launch. And it was a create a weapon skins contest for our 2 new classes, and we'll pick 2 winners. And after 4.0 goes live, we will throw your skins in the game and in our cash shop. Pretty cool
awesome.
contest.
Are these winners? Do these winners get paid as well?
No, they don't. They're not using the same type of system here. This is more bragging rights because there's very few people that even get to this type of thing. So as far as Aion's concerned, this is the only user stuff that I'm aware of that's in the cash shop, so it's kind of a bragging rights thing right now. Only 2 people in North America.
So we've got 2 skins here. We've got 1 skin for the new Gunslinger class, and we've got 1 skin for the new Songweaver class. What do you think? What do you think here?
I dig the Songweavers, especially since the harp and the bow have their own separate models. That's pretty cool, and there's not many bows in Aion that do that. So that's awesome. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Gunslinger's weapon skin. I dig the vibe, but I don't know if it's pulled off well inside the game, and that's not the artist's fault. The winner's fault. That would be more on NCSoft's side. So I'm gonna stick with the Song Weaver's weapon if I get to pick one. I'm gonna get so much flack for this, but on the Gunweaver, come on, just give me like a little bit of a blade and have it come down right here so I can live out my Gunblade fantasies. Come on, it's almost there. That's all I see when I look at this thing is just the Gunblade. I don't know. I think I agree with you. The Gunweavers. It's elegant, but I think there could have been more done with it. I like the detail here with the Songweavers class. You know, you've got the interweaving of this. I don't even know what this is. This little gold tassel, but with the theming of the butterfly and obviously kind of the strings here. The Songweavers definitely looks elegant, and I do like that. I think there's a certain level of polish that isn't seen with the Gunweavers class, but hey, it wasn't my contest, so I don't know. Chat is busting you up for calling it a Gunweaver, by the way.
Did I say Whatever. Songweaver.
Hey,
Words.
third new class coming in 4.5 on that one. So even more new classes for you to screw the name up a little bit.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Aion. Congratulations to Rakesh and C. How much are these going for the cash shop right now?
There's 2 versions of each skin. One is tradable, one is not. The tradable one is 649 N coin, and the non-tradable one is 599 or 599 N coin. Basically, that boils down to 750 USD to not be able to trade it, and about $8.14 to be able to trade it. And you have to be level 30 to get that tradable one to kind of keep the cash sellers out of it.
All right. Now I got another question for you. What the hell is Black Desert? Never heard of it before I watched this movie. See, I told you there was a movie in here that I needed to load up prior to this. But I've never heard of it before until I actually watched this.
Check it out, freetoplay.tv.
Freetoplay.tv. You guys can go watch it. I'm not even going to play it on this stream for you. You guys got to go check out the real story. Homework for tonight.
Looks badass.
I'm gonna check in next week, and if you guys haven't watched it, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something. Not a whole lot of information in that video though, and we're kind of almost out of time. So quick rundown: what is this game?
We don't know.
Fun.
It's action-y oriented. It's sandboxy oriented. Looks like housing's going to play a super big part in this one. There's a lot going on. And the videos and the trailers, again, this is still very early. look pretty badass. I mean, this trailer specifically, go check it out if you haven't. It's a very cool trailer that shows a bunch of pieces. But really, we're just speculating right now. We're speculating that it's even going to be free to play. And we just believe that it will based on some press a while ago. Kind of like we're just assuming Arcade is going to be free when it comes here based on what's happening in the East. Pretty badass looking game, though. Keep your eye on it if you haven't so far.
Definitely go check that out, guys, on FreeToPlay.tv. Mike Byrne, you can follow him right down there at MagicMan1, 2 N's and a 1. Be sure to catch him and all the stuff he does over at FreeToPlay.tv, editor-in-chief. A lot of awesome things over there. So if you guys haven't checked out that website, do so now. Well, not right now. We're wrapping up the show. Go and give me like 5 minutes to finish, and then you can go. You guys can follow me right down here at Mike Schaffnitz. Catch me all over the place on Game Breaker. I host a live call-in show on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. PDT, as well as Waypoint that goes up on Tuesdays as well for all of your World of Warcraft wrap-up. And starting next week, hopefully we'll have a League of Legends edition for Waypoint as well. So be sure to catch that on Thursday next week. That's all we got going on here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow at GameBreaker TV on Twitter and check us out. GameBreaker.tv. Check out Cube Nation. There's a lot of amazing things going on and around our network of sites, so be sure to check them all out. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next week.